I need to get my hair cut because I haven't since quarantine, and it's crazy. Okay, we are in theory going live. There we are live. All right, it is Sunday, the 18th of October, 2020. And this is the First Edition staff meeting. My name is Charlie Plain. I am the current director of First Edition. And I will have everyone introduce themselves in the order they appear on my screen, starting with Dan.
Hi, I'm Dan. I'm a 1A designer. I'm also on the balance team and, shipping manager on the side.
Because none of us have enough to do. So. Ross.
I'm Ross Vertel, fifth reader on the forums, First Edition. I'm on the creative team. And I'm sorry, Charlie, I'm just having some problems with some of these cards in Storm. Could you please send Halle Berry over to go over them with me?
Ross, if I had that power, I would not send her to you. No offense, my friend. Alan, please.
I'm Alan Gould. I am on the rules team and also on Project Storm. No, wait, I'm on Project Rogue. I'm reading another note and got my names mixed up.
So many projects.
I do things.
Austin. Austin is not there. So, James. James is muted. So.
Hi. Oh, which James were you talking about?
You're the only James at the moment. So.
Okay, it sounded like somebody else unmuted. That's why I was asking. Yep. My name is James Monsprod, an Orban on the forums. I am a 1E designer. I am on the playtest team, and I'm the primary developer for the Utopia Planitia project.
Yes, so when we make cards, then we can thank James and Chris Logan. So. Jason?
I'm Jason Tang, and I'm on the balance team.
Heck yeah. Austin, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. Austin Chandler, Darksaber on the forums. First Edition playtest manager, social media manager for Trek CC, and burgeoning designer because I'm on Project Rogue.
Excellent. And last but certainly not least, I see Patty has joined us.
Hello. I can't get my camera to work. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
Okay.
Your camera's probably still hooked to your Hangout.
Well, no, because I was doing that on my phone.
Well, who knows?
Yeah. You don't need to see me. So, yeah, Paddy Ty, creative lead and designer on far too many sets.
I hear that. I really do. I keep trying to cut back, and then I keep having to help. It's fun, but hard to manage.
Agreed.
Okay, let's get into our meeting, which it occurs to me I never posted an agenda for. Posted a tentative agenda, so we'll run with that. We'll start with our department reports. And Dan, balance team is first in the alphabet, so why don't you tell us about where you are and what you still need and what you're working on, all that good stuff.
That is an excellent question that I am completely prepared to jump in and start answering right away. We had an internal timeline. I believe we have just gotten to it, that it is time to set the roster and begin work, whether or not we have a full slate of people or not. So I think I'm looking at this list. 12 months. November 1st is when our timeline ends, where we want to have our last 2 or 3 slots filled. Once that's done, we've got a list of things to start working on. A number of posts went up just last weekend based on some playing that Charlie and John Carter did, so we'll go from there. We're still waiting for a design candidate, and we have several applications that we'll be going through to fill out the last of the roster by the 1st of the month. That's our plan.
Sounds good. Just real tentative, non-committal. Like, what are going to be your first things to look at? Do you have any idea?
There are a number of things that have been left over from the previous iteration of this group. However, the loudest complaints that we hear from everyone right now is Battleborg is crazy. So let's take a leg out from under it. There have been a number of proposals for let's take out these 10 cards and then they'll be fine again. I don't think we'll go that crazy to begin with, but I can see knocking a peg out or two and seeing how things go.
Good. Thank you. I will have Patty speak to what the creative team is working on.
Creative team is currently working on Storm. So I will cover that when we get around to Storm, probably.
Yeah, fair enough. You do have some future sets of promos, I think, that are out there to work on too, right?
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. So good, actually, a good amount of work for the creative team right now, which is nice.
Yes.
That's a good problem to have.
So I think the design is next. So I will briefly talk about. Well, James, you just put out your fruits of your labor. Why don't you tell us about how Londo went and how you think it's been received and what you're looking forward to?
How did it go? It was a bit tough. We had a big team at the beginning, and due to unforeseen complications or personal life issues, the team kind of fell off. And at the end, it was basically Charlie and me who pushed it across the finish line. We had some good support from a number of test groups. We could have used some more because it was basically just a couple of groups that were providing feedback. And I think overall the reception has been pretty good. So I'm really happy about that. But we'll see how things play out as they get used in upcoming tournaments. Hopefully we didn't release anything too utterly broken. But I'm really happy with the reception that it's being received on the forums so far.
I'm going to just make a prediction now that whatever card ends up being completely broken is not something any of us saw coming. It's not going to be new civilizations. It's not going to be any of the strong verbs. It's going to be like some random background Klingon that has some exact combination of skills that breaks some Oleg level freaking ridiculous loop combo, and we're gonna, because we gave him physics, it's gonna be something like that.
Well, with the great teacher out there, are there any really skill combinations that can cause a problem?
I mean, the great teacher is, the great teacher would be on my list of potentially broken cards, but it's an artifact, and artifacts have to get earned, and that's not easy, especially with how fast things are. And is somebody going to run the great teacher over Genesis? I don't know. So
also, the great teacher has a couple of vulnerabilities that we know during design and testing, which is the single person who is vulnerable. If they die or get stopped, you lose the great teacher's benefits. Or if the great teacher gets like disruptor overloaded. There's good counters to it. I'm not expecting that one's going to be the one that breaks the game.
No, I don't really think anything in there is bananas. It's just been such an unusual year. I don't know that we've gotten a lot of play iterations on either Neutral Zone or this, or we'll see this until next year probably. But I think it went well. Nobody really, except for the fact that we misgendered a cat. We need to keep an eye on that. But
I can see the image for that is updated, but I can't download the expansion now.
I'll let Chris know.
Yeah.
But yeah, Johnny fixed that real quick. So lessons learned. I think it's, we had like 3 things we changed. We fixed the capitalization on Mongol on Genghis Khan, and there was a misspelling of acquisition on a mission that we fixed, and then we misgendered a cat. But I think it went well, and I saw at least a lot of people that don't typically comment on the forums commenting on hey, this is a great looking set. I can't wait to try this. So that's pretty cool. Good feeling.
I thought the posts on the Discord each day were pretty good. So thanks for that, Ross.
Ross is a champ at promoting sets. So. Well, then we'll transition from what design just did to what design is currently doing, and have Patty talk a little bit about Project Storm's design and where it is and so forth. So.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping Stofford would be able to talk about this. So we've done. There's a new iteration of Storm coming out. Hopefully sometime in the next week. We did a big meeting on Friday with Charlie and went through a lot of different cards and tried to make them as simple as possible. Cut a few things, trying to just get the complexity level down. So we're still trying to overhaul things, and thanks to anyone who's been doing any testing. So thanks to Dan for his testing where he got to blow up Rogue's headquarters, I believe. So he had fun with that, I think. And then, I think beyond that, we just need to encourage as many playtesters as possible to pitch in and post their results, because at the minute is difficult times for getting people together. So yeah, we need as much encouragement as possible.
May you just step in and applaud how easy it is to make test decks in Lackey now with the download. And if you are going to be providing unpublished cards to add to that, I think that's fantastic. So it's been very easy.
I've been chatting with Everlam's. Oh, hey, we're live on YouTube. So this is a public meeting, apparently. Oh, oops. Okay. So let's keep that in mind as we go forward. I don't know how to change that, and I don't want to mess with it. So we're live on YouTube. Woohoo! These are boring meetings, guys. There's nothing exciting here. Thank you for pointing that out, Ross. Man, don't schedule meetings when you're waking up. Okay. I'm talking to Everlam's about getting a separate testing plugin going. So you have a 1E plugin and then 1E test plugin, so that we can just update the file through the plugin, and then you just download it and it brings everything with it, all the images. There's some complexities to that, but one of the things I want to do if we do that is I'll put things like the whiteboard or promos in there, and we can put the errata in there, and we can put previous sets in there, and because what I do right now is I have two copies of Lackey. I have Lackey that I play online with, and then Lackey that I play test with, so I don't have plugin problems. But yeah, the work that James did to make the images work and the download of the plugin is fantastic and has made things better. And I do say, we say we want more testers, which we always do, but like there was a time when we had like one group testing every other version and we're putting out cards. So now it's nice to see, 3 or 4 groups testing pretty regularly. So we're definitely trending the right way. Speaking of testing, Austin, why don't you let us know where testing is at and what you're dealing with?
Well, all the Jewish holidays are over until Passover, so I'm happy, and I'm actually back to a somewhat normal schedule. So I'm actually talking to 3 new test groups that actually they either meet up as friends.
He's gonna mute again.
I think we lost Austin there.
Yeah.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Now we can, yes.
Okay, so I have 3 potential new test groups that I've been talking to about joining up. These are people who they're like friends and they meet up anyway, even with COVID happening. Or there's actually a father and son who actually live in Richmond that reached out to me recently that I've been talking to them about that. Not sure about I am currently emailing a lot of the play testers weekly, trying to get them. Some of them like they will comment to me about some cards, but I'm like, you guys have to post on the forums. So it's a work in progress, trying to push them to just comment on the cards. I don't know if incentives or anything would actually help, but beyond that, I think that getting new playtest groups might be a better answer to the current issue. So I am working on that. I'm hoping to have those 3 new groups to be joining up soon.
Cool. One of the things that we can do too with Lackey and everybody being, shut in, is it doesn't have to be that like the groups just play each other. Like there's no reason like Dan couldn't play a game with James, or James couldn't play a game with Austin, or so that there are opportunities for more playtesting if we can get the schedules.
Yeah.
Right, so.
Actually, John asked to help playtest Project Storm. So me and him are going to try to play on Lackey sometime soon.
Cool.
Because he has a few ideas that he wants to make sure it doesn't break the game.
That's John Carter, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah,
so
I've been discussing these ideas. That would be good to get those tested. Yes.
Yeah, so hopefully we're going to be able to play. I did ask people if they made a Lackey set, like for a deck with Storm to share their file, but no one has volunteered yet to do so. I don't test with Lackey in terms of using the program so much because I'm usually testing on the weekend and I print out everything and we play decks printed out, not with Lackey.
There's a difficulty with that because cards change week after week or every couple of weeks. So, for example, if I gave you my deck that I built for version A, it doesn't work anymore because the cards.
True.
And I just want to echo what Charlie was saying about the people from different groups playing, because right now my playtest group doesn't play, and I playtest with James Heaney, and we're not in the same group, but we've been playtesting together for a long time now because we're both available and we both want to contribute.
Yeah, one of the things that's always, am I muted? I might be muted. No. One of the things that's always floated around is that designers have to playtest, and that's always been difficult to sort of implement, but a lot of us are. Dan is, and James is, and Patty does. But as we're going to be recruiting, and I didn't mention this, but we will be recruiting new designers because we do need more people. And one of the I hesitate to say requirements, but one of the big asks is, will you be able to playtest, once or twice a month to join the design team? And the people that say yes will get looked at for sure. So I don't want to say extra consideration, but that'll be a big win if we can recruit testers and designers, with the obvious restriction that you don't test your own cards, or at least you can't take the lead on testing your own cards. So,
agree.
Anyway, we don't have anyone from the rules team here, but I did get. Oh,
Yes,
Alan's here. Sorry, Alan. I forgot. Alan, tell us what rules is working on. I know James posted something. So.
Yeah, James sent me Cliff Notes. So
tell us what rules is up to.
So big thing this month is the Private Little War rules supplement, which is the first time in a while that we've done a rules update with an expansion and an OTF change, and nobody seems to be losing their minds over that, so call it a win. We have the first batch of clarifying errata coming out this month, which is we're not changing really what the cards do, but just updating the wording from old, pack era. We slap some words on a card to something that actually makes sense, and we're hoping that works out. And we are starting our Project Storm review, which he is absolutely up to date on.
I somehow don't believe you, but that's fine.
But you didn't hear it from me.
All right. That is our department reports. I think covered everything there. Let us move on and talk about next year's calendar a little bit. So the plan right now is Project Storm will be the first big expansion of the year. There is a small possibility we will slip in a 9 or 18 card boutique before it, depending on how testing shakes out and things move forward. But it's hopeful that I'd like to get that out around. I'd like to get Storm out in February if everything goes smoothly. But with holidays coming up and who knows what other curveballs 2020 is going to throw us. We're only on level 10 of Jumanji, so there's more drama to come. So in theory, Storm will be first. It may slide back, and if it does, we will slip something smaller in there to sort of keep some momentum going. And then if Storm does come out on time, the small thing will come after Storm to provide some extra content before we do Rogue and Solo, which will theoretically come in June and October. We don't usually hit those milestones, so I'm not super 100% confident in it. But like I said, testing has been trending up, and especially if Austin is recruiting more people and we can add back in-person testing outside of Austin's group and Chris and Matt, who can occasionally get together. I think we can turn the volume of testing up and move forward a little more reliably. So that's the plan, to see three big sets, not big sets, they're going to be back to normal, 50, 45, 50 cards. But to get all three of those out next year, I think there's a fair chance that we'll see Storm and Rogue next year with a boutique or two in the middle, and then Solo would be the first in 2022. But I would like to not do that. I would like to try to get those three out. So there is going to be Will of the Collective 7 or 8, I forget what number we're on, will be starting in November. We're going to make a broken link. We're going to close a broken link, which I think some people will be very, very happy about. And then in 2021, timing to be determined, we'll be running Make It So again, which is recruit for designers. That's how we got James to Make It So, and Patty, and several other people. Alan, I think like half of our roster came from Make It So. But we're not gonna. I'm gonna move away from like reality show stuff and make it more of a, design training course / boot camp, and then basically make it, if you get above 75%, you're in. So we'll see how that goes. So that's 2021's rough calendar. Any questions on the calendar there? Keep closing the wrong tab. I'm losing my meeting. Okay. We just talked about Will of the Collective, so we'll skip on that. I want to talk to you a little bit about my 5-year plan, which I have renamed the long-term plan because it covers stuff from recently as now up to 2035. So it's a bit longer than 5 years. I'll be posting the text. I really hope this week. I was hoping to have it posted ahead of this meeting, and it's just been, I haven't had time. The core of the 5-year plan is we have a list of things that we think are problems. There is not broad consensus on whether most of them are problems. There's people who don't agree on all of them. So we're going to spend some time researching those and having conversations and having meetings about things. These are things like special downloads, suspense play timing, number of turns, number of draws, number of plays. These are sort of these things that we have potentially flagged as problematic for the health of the game. And we're going to start looking at those, not immediately in terms of how do we fix it, but like, is this an issue that we need to fix? Can we get to that point that we agree on this, and then how do we fix it? And we're going to spend the next 2 years doing that, and getting some work done. We're going to be making some changes to how design does things. We're going to slow down on special downloads. We're going to slow down on points, card draws, free plays as rewards for doing things. We're going to look for new spaces that we can play that are, similarly advantageous. We're going to slow down the number of decisions that you have to make in a turn by looking at ways that we can, narrow the windows where you can make those decisions, or limit the number of things that you can do in a turn. We're going to look at finding ways to sort of rein in the rampant power growth that's happened. So, and that'll be a learning curve. One of the mantras that I'm really embracing moving forward is when we take things away, we need to try to offer something else in its place. There are a lot of diehard 1E fans out there of specific mechanics and specific ideas. So if we're going to, this is just an example that came up recently. If we're going to change some stuff about how NORs work because we want to simplify NORs, there are going to be players that do not like that. Just even if it is advantageous for them, they're not going to like it. So what I want to do is whenever we make changes like that, where we know there's going to be resistance or opposition, we want to try to offer a carrot with the stick. So, we're taking away this toy that you like, but here's a new toy that's similar. A really good example of this would be, let's say we decide to break bug outs. We break special download timing, so the cards that you have that let you bug out don't work anymore. Well, maybe we could replace that with some design bug outs, some cards that replicate that behavior in a manner that we like, or we think isn't as degenerate, so that it's like, okay, we took away your trick where you download the gift to get out of a space dilemma, but we've given you something else that lets you sort of play in that same space. So that's going to be a mantra you hear me say a lot. Wherever we take something away, we need to try to give something back. In terms of how we're going to move forward with design, we did a big survey in 2018, and the large result was people don't like block as a card pool format, so that is going away. They do generally like connected themes across sets. So what I call block style design. So they generally like, I like the OS block, I like the mirror block, I like the DS9 block. But there was a pretty big desire to see more stuff that isn't block related. And we've tried that in the past, where we're like, we'll put in Kazon Voyager in the Maquis set, and we'll put in, TNG Borg in the Romulan set. I think what we're going to try now is we're going to switch blocks from 3 sets to 2. So that's starting with the movie block. So it was originally 3, now it's just 2. Rogue is TOS movies and Solo is TNG movies. And then we're going to space out between block content sort of old school virtual sets where everybody gets something, or off-theme stuff. So Project Storm is the first one that's doing this. We just finished the OS set. We're going into the movie block. In the middle of it is Project Storm, which is a bunch of DS9 content. In between the movie block and the first block after that, there will be an off-theme set. So it's like, excuse me. There's also a big desire for, I want old school style expansions where like everybody gets something. So we're going to make sure we pepper those in. So essentially we are not getting rid of block style design. We're tightening it from 3 to 2, and we're making sure that in between blocks, there will be non-block content. I'm also going to stop announcing like 5 years of sets out at a time, because I like the versatility to be able to change my mind. no disrespect to anybody, but when I announce, we're going to do A, B, and C, and then it turns out C isn't working at all, and I want to change it to D, I get a lot of people who say, well, you said you were going to do C. Why aren't we doing C? So if I just tell you that I'm doing A and B, excuse me, because I started working on A and B, then I have the versatility to swap from C and D before I commit to it. So, but first block after movies is Delta Quadrant. I have not officially said that. I guess it's public now. It's going to go public soon, and I'll say it, but we're going to do DQ. They've waited a long time. So that is the rough 5-year plan. I'll be posting the details for the team to look at, and then I'll be doing a big public post where I go over everything, and I'll probably do office hours and Q&As and all that good stuff. Well, excuse me. Somebody else talk for a minute.
Do we have project names for DQ Block? And if not, can I suggest Project Blizzard and Project Dilly Bar?
Oh, nice. That's actually better. They're Blues Brothers right now. But that's actually better. I like that. I might change that to Blizzard and Dilly Bar. Dairy Queen. It's a Dairy Queen joke. So. No, they're the Blues Brothers right now. Elwood and Jake. So. All right. That's really all I had to cover. Was there anything you guys wanted to discuss? And if anybody is watching this live, if you had anything you wanted to discuss, you can post it in the YouTube chat. I know Daniel is out there watching. My good buddy Daniel Fugate. So, what do you guys have topics you want to bring up or questions you want to add?
I had a co-designer on one of the small projects I was leading. Unfortunately, as we've apparently seen, he's dropped off and I don't have anyone to work with anymore. So the set is mostly designed. All the cards are up in UP. I'm looking for another set of eyes to just look over it. I'm not looking for someone who, wants to reshape the mold, but, just polish up the clay a little bit. So if you have somebody in mind, I would be interested in talking to them.
What is this set? Just give a brief. I've announced what it is, so just give a brief overview of what it is so that people know. So.
Project Quarantine is a refresh of the Q-Flash dynamic.
It's a boutique set playing around with Q stuff.
Yeah.
So. If you're interested in working on that, reach out to me. So. Did anyone else have other concerns or anything they wanted to bring up?
Yeah, I was just curious, so you mentioned earlier that designers are not supposed to play test their own cards, and I'm just kind of wondering why that is. Sorry,
to be clear, designers should test their own cards all through design and during the playtesting process. The problem is you confirmation bias yourself. You designed a card to work this way and you test it that way, and you don't necessarily test outside the box. So you shouldn't, prior to going to testing, we do test it. James and I played a bunch of, we played through a bunch of stuff with the Londo cards before we went to testing. And you test your own cards. I shouldn't have said it the way I said it, so I apologize for the confusion. But once it goes to play testing, you really want to prioritize and emphasize other people's perspectives and feedback, because they're the ones who haven't been sitting with the cards for 6 months. So if I made a bunch of cards, it's perfectly okay for me to play with them against Patty or you, Jason, but you or Patty should be the one, reporting on it and asking questions and commenting. I don't want to influence it too much because I know how I want the card to work. Does that make sense? So, it's an avoiding of that confirmation bias. It's bitten us, not as much on the 1E side, but in early 2E testing, it bit us in the butt because we would test our stuff and not see the obvious things because, Jason, I know you won't be afraid to tell me that I did something stupid, but there have been people in the past who just sort of don't say something because it's like, oh, you made the card. I don't want to tell you that you're wrong, or I don't want to like argue with you. So it's just to avoid that confirmation bias. You absolutely should be testing your cards. I mean, James tested with James M tested with James H almost every week in Londo. It's just James M let James H do the reporting and draw the conclusion. So I hope that clarified that point. Cool. I got a thumbs up. I'll take it. Anything else? Okay.
Surprisingly quiet this week, aren't we?
Yeah. One other thing I wanted to, I guess I should have announced this earlier, but we're going to start having topic meetings. So what I'm going to do is basically say, let's put together a group of people who want to work on suspense play timing issues. And then, if Dan and myself and Jason and Patty say we want to work on that, then the four of us will go have a meeting and we'll make it public, or we'll post the links to it, and anybody who wants to come can come. But we're going to start having sort of broader meetings, narrower meetings. So it's like these staff meetings are about broad issues in 1E, and we'll keep each other informed on our progress. But I want to be able to have like, okay, this meeting is to talk about this issue, or like maybe we'll have meetings to talk about the affiliation separation and division project, so just keep an eye out for that. There may be a higher number of meetings moving forward, but they'll be more narrowly focused, designed to sort of be working groups. So don't be surprised when that happens.
So they'll be in addition to bi-monthly meetings, not in place of them.
No, the monthly staff meeting is never going anywhere. I'm going to keep scheduling the monthly staff meeting. It's not going to change. It's going to be, touching in and talking about topics that affect everyone, but if we break into a working group and that working group comes back with a proposal, then this is where we will talk through the final proposal in these staff meetings. But the actual work of getting the discussions at the nitty-gritty level won't be in these meetings. They'll be in working group meetings. This is your boring monthly, weekly corporate staff meeting, not where you actually get work done usually. Okay, with that being done, I'm going to end the broadcast here. Thank you all for watching, and I hope the public enjoyed this very boring but entirely representative